Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm Cody Proctor. This is the KREM 2 News Week in Review, where each weekend we bring you headlines from the past week in the Inland Northwest. Let's get started with one of the biggest news stories of the past few days.
Well, this new comprehensive plan consists of a 3-ordinance approach, and those ordinances address homelessness prevention, inclement weather, as well as it streamlines citywide policy.
Mayor Brown and her team shared that this plan has been in development for some time.
We have needed a plan for years, and now we have one. It's called Home Starts Here.
This new plan comes after Spokane's Proposition 1 was overturned. That prohibited camping within 1,000 feet of sensitive locations. Now, the city tells KREM 2 they decided to broaden the plan to address those recent changes.
Over the past year, my administration has been focused on identifying root causes, identifying the gaps in our current system.
Ordinance 1 aligns all city departments on plans to help people with housing insecurity and homeless prevention. Ordinance 2 changes the requirements for when the city activates inclement weather sheltering and will give the city more flexibility for shelter siting. Ordinance 3, engagement and enforcement, which is now expanded citywide.
And we are listening to neighbors' concerns about the impacts of homelessness and announcing a citywide ordinance that addresses unauthorized camping and protects access to public property.
The ordinance also sets clear guidelines for law enforcement dealing with unauthorized camping.
Mayor Brown said the key goals for these ordinances will be 1, reducing those who are housing cost burden, 2, growing median household incomes, 3, adding new housing units for all income levels, 4, growing home ownership rates, and 5, increasing access to health care. I'm reporting in downtown Spokane, Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
We now know the name of a man who was shot and killed here in the West Plains just behind me, and his family and friends are still processing the loss.
He was my little brother. I loved him.
Hassani Vita's brother Afande Salih and friend Mohammed Haroun are still shocked after hearing of his passing.
There's nothing we can do now but send him prayers.
Last Monday, the Spokane County Sheriff's Office responded to a reported shooting near the Amazon Fulfillment Center west of Spokane. The caller reported seeing a man shoot another man and later saw several people running away from the area. Deputies say they then found a man, later identified as Vita, who had been shot on the side of the road and died. It's a loss that's hitting both Salih and Haroun hard.
I've known him since I was like 11 years old. We grew up together. It's been a tragic loss since we lost him.
Investigators remain tight-lipped about their investigation. They haven't said what may have led to the shooting for those who knew and loved Vita.
Not just a best friend, but a brother as well.
They just want him to be remembered as a kind-hearted person who only wished the best for everyone he came across.
I wish he was my actual brother, but he still was my brother.
Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
William Baldwin is in Spokane County Jail on $1 million bond. Prosecutors say he shot co-worker Hassani Vita in the face and torso during an argument. U.S. Marshals arrested Baldwin Tuesday night, days after he initially told police he didn't know who shot Hassani Vita.
He indicated someone pulled out a gun and they started shooting, so Baldwin ran away.
Baldwin now faces the second-degree murder charge for the April 21st shooting. A witness at Geiger and Hayford Road told law enforcement he saw the whole thing happen, starting with 3 men arguing as they walked toward the Amazon warehouse.
That witness looked away for a moment, assuming everything was fine between the 3 men, but then looked back at the man when he heard a gunshot. He then saw the light-skinned male shoot 2 more times while pointing a handgun at the victim.
This witness told investigators the shooter had lighter skin than the other 2 and was wearing a blue hoodie he took off before shooting. That's something Baldwin himself told detectives after he was initially detained the same day.
He found defendant William Baldwin crouching and hiding in a brushy area in the field east of the Amazon warehouse.
Baldwin admitted he started arguing with 2 Amazon co-workers, Vita and another man, on the bus, which spilled onto the Airway Heights streets. Court records show Baldwin told detectives Vita mentioned a local gang and told Baldwin to stay in his own place. Baldwin said he took off his hoodie to fight Vita, but denied shooting him.
He doesn't know which guy had the gun or fired the shots.
Baldwin's blue hoodie was found at the scene. Crime scene technicians found a gun holster in the pocket. We have also learned one key piece of evidence is still missing: the murder weapon. Court records show Baldwin was released after questioning. Investigators noted he had time to hide or retrieve the gun. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
Yeah, well, after going through court documents all day, detectives believe it was a gang-related shooting that killed 24-year-old Timothy Allen Jr. and left another man seriously injured. Around 3:15 that morning, calls came in to the Spokane Police Department of a shooting at the Maverick gas station on Division. When officers got there, they found Allen Jr. dead in the parking lot and another man with multiple gunshot wounds. The affidavit of facts says a confrontation started between two groups of people believed to be affiliated with rival gangs, the Native Gangster Bloods and the Indian Pride Organization. Security camera footage shared with police shows the two groups talking with each other as they walked towards the entrance of the gas station. Detectives say at one point, Allen Jr.'s group, the Native Gangster Bloods, walked out of frame, and the alleged shooter Quentin Hutchinson, along with his group, started walking back towards their car. Detectives say they saw Allen Jr. walk back into frame with a gun in his hand. That's when Hutchinson allegedly started shooting, killing Allen Jr. Court documents show, based on the video footage and the amount of casings left behind, police believe Hutchinson allegedly used a switch on his gun, which is illegal, causing the handgun to turn from semi-automatic to fully automatic with the press of a trigger. Hutchinson turned himself in 2 days later and faces charges of murder in the second degree, along with assault in the first degree. We did reach out to the Spokane Police Department for more information about the gangs involved, but it said it cannot comment on an active investigation. Now, this case is currently in district court, but is anticipated to move to Superior Court in the future. In the newsroom, Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
Well, the district has a zero tolerance policy for weapons on campus, real or not, and they are reiterating that message to families and students after two separate incidents within the last week. Coeur d'Alene School District is urging families to take two scary situations as learning opportunities.
There are unintended consequences. We would hate for a student to make a poor decision and bring a replica weapon and then have a response from law enforcement or the police that causes serious injury or death to that student.
A 10-year-old Nexa Elementary student now faces a criminal charge for making threats on school property. A district letter to parents says he threatened to shoot up the school Wednesday. Staff found a pellet gun in his backpack. Last Friday, Coeur d'Alene High School went on a brief safety hold when someone called police to report a student with a gun. Turns out they were playing a game with a water gun. Safety and Security Coordinator Thomas Gandy says under school policy, that doesn't matter.
In this day and age, with the climate for schools the way it is, that's just something that we have to take a zero tolerance policy towards.
The district forbids weapons of any kind and asks parents to remind kids not to bring anything on campus that could even be mistaken for a gun. Because mistakes, he says, could have serious consequences.
Law enforcement gets bulletins all the time for real weapons that are made to look like they're not real weapons. So we are also very concerned about the opposite being true, which is somebody bringing a weapon on campus that's disguised to not be a weapon.
They're also reminding students and their families to report anything suspicious.
That's one of the things we always want to reiterate. We have a see something, say something culture.
In both cases, students and witnesses reported the perceived threat. Now, to emphasize how serious this no weapons policy is, the district says that if students even want to, say, perform a play where they have a replica weapon, they have to get authorization first. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
As we go to break, here's a check of your weekend forecast. Welcome back to the KREM 2 News Week in Review. It has been a busy week all across the inland Northwest, so let's catch you up on some of the news you might have missed. KREM 2 News is committed to bring you more to every story. Here now, a deeper look behind the headline.
Central Valley School District's board may file a federal complaint over conflicting Title IX directives. The board is seeking assurance of continued federal support and guidance on which orders to follow.
The Central Valley School Board is caught between complying with state and federal law regarding transgender athletes.
Each side is saying that they're going to withhold funding if you don't comply. And as a school district, that puts us directly in the middle.
This week, the board drafted a complaint against Washington state agencies, including the state superintendent and the Washington Interscholastic Activities Association, or WIAA. It's asking for urgent intervention from the U.S. Civil Rights Office, Department of Education, or Department of Justice. The board believes the state is violating Title IX by requiring school districts to allow biological male students to participate in female athletics and access to female-only facilities based solely on gender identity.
We are put in a position where we need some help and some direction and some directive. And we also want to really protect the funding that our district has.
The draft complaint claims violating Title IX executive orders would jeopardize essential federal funding for the district. It estimates more than $12.8 million in federal funding for the 2024-2025 school year. The board says losing those funds would be devastating for the students and community. The complaint also asks whether federal orders override state policies to determine which directives the district should follow.
It is not to pick a fight with OSPI. It's actually the opposite. We're asking the federal government to deal with OSPI.
The Meade School District sent a similar letter to the federal government last month. In it, the board urges federal officials to intervene in conflicting directives from the state and federal government.
The Central Valley School Board is meeting on Monday to choose a final version of its complaint. Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News. Well, I'm standing along I-90 right now near the 270 exits, and WSP says this is an area of concern because the speed zone goes from 70 miles an hour to 60 going into Spokane. So as the weather improves and the sun continues to shine, they urge drivers to slow down or they're going to see a lot of this.
WSP Sergeant Greg Riddell says his patrols have seen drivers going too fast.
Because we commonly get traffic at 75, 80 miles an hour. And that merging traffic from State Route 2, that's where that choke point, and it becomes very, very dangerous.
With the sunny weather, he says drivers may be having too much fun in already congested areas, which prompts more proactive patrols, especially from motorcycle units.
Another area obviously is Sherman or the Perry Curves, and just prior to, and then out at Sullivan, Evergreen, and Pines is also a very congested area.
Sergeant Riddell notes drivers should watch out for key hazards like merging traffic and construction zones. He also emphasizes a big factor in fatal crashes is drivers not wearing seatbelts.
And we're really not out to go out and ruin everybody's day and put people in the jail. But if that's what we have to do to stop serious injury collisions, that's what we're going to do. Simply, if we're out there and we're working and people get the word that we're working those areas and that stops, that's ultimately what we want to happen.
WSP tells KREM they are currently staffed at about 75%, and statewide they have had low numbers.
When we're not at capacity, it's the community members, it's the citizens of the state of Washington that are fully impacted.
But through a new recruiting program, they say they expect 6 more recruits to start this summer in eastern Washington to help address safety concerns.
People don't call 911 because they're having a good day. They're calling 911 because they desperately need help. So the more troopers that we can get on the road, the quicker that we can respond to them.
And to kick off the month of May with Cinco de Mayo weekend, WSP says they will have extra overtime patrols out. And May is also Click It or Ticket month, so there'll be extra patrols out as well, looking for those not wearing seatbelts. I'm reporting right here in Spokane County, Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
Thanks for joining KREM 2 News this weekend. I'm Cody Proctor. Right now, we're taking a look back at some of the news stories from the past week in this edition of the KREM 2 News Week in Review.
The foundation operates in 3 school districts across Washington and Oregon. The most recent expansion, Central Valley, here in Spokane.
The Fair Catch Foundation is a nonprofit organization started by Jesse Revesz, whose own story inspired him to give back to the community.
We all hear the cliches of, sports give us, a lot of these values like teamwork and leadership. But for me, it was something deeper. And it was identifying what a normal social atmosphere looks like in a family.
Revesz's parents both struggled with addiction, and he lost them both at a young age. While bouncing around from friends' houses to foster homes to eventually becoming an emancipated minor at 16, he couldn't imagine trying to afford sports gear of his own.
I did have equipment, but a lot of it was handed down. It wasn't things that I would choose. It was, the coach's kids' equipment, and I felt weird asking for it. And as you get older, you realize that we're not all on the same playing field.
The foundation is operating in 3 districts: Washougal, Jesse's home district, Yamhill-Carlton in Oregon, and recently Central Valley, with plans to expand to Stanwood next. Middle and high school students in these districts are nominated by staff and faculty members and then are surprised with $500 a year every year until they graduate or stop playing sports to go towards sports-related expenses. These funds are managed by Fair Catch Foundation ambassadors in these districts.
Having the right cleats to participate in a sport or the right pants, it just takes that off their minds, and they get to go out and have fun and compete and learn and grow. And really benefit from playing in the athletic field.
The foundation currently has the funding to sponsor 32 athletes across 3 districts. The foundation is supported by community donation, and all of the money raised goes directly to supporting athletes. You can learn more about the foundation on our website, KREM.com.
The foundation hopes to continue expanding its reach and help more students across the country. In Spokane Valley, Caitlin Galloway, KREM 2 News.
Welcome back. Before we wrap up this edition of the KREM 2 News Week in Review, we want to remind you that you can get the latest newscasts and weather forecasts anytime on KREM 2 Plus. It's free to watch and download for Roku, Amazon Fire, and on Apple TV. Now here's one more story before we go.
Oh my gosh, it's springtime. The tulips are out. It's gorgeous. The sun is out. It's time for Bloomsday, and that means it's also time for the KREM Cares Diaper Drive. It launched today, and that means you can go into any area Rosers and find a KREM Cares Diaper Drive bag. New this year, we've got 2 different price points. We've got what we call the newborn bag for a $10 donation, and we have the toddler bag for a $20 donation. You buy these when you check out. We will fill them with diapers and wipes and give them to Vanessa Behan. They work with so many families that need support right now. Parents are telling us that they have to choose between food and diapers or paying a bill in diapers, and we want to help out, and we need your help to do that. So the KREM Cares Diaper Drive going on right now through May 11th. You can stop by again, area Rosers. This year we have Super One on Spokane South Hill, along with Huckleberries on South Hill as well. Or you can stop by any Washington Trust Bank branch or make a donation on KREM.com. We hope you can support the KREM Cares Diaper Drive. Reporting in North Spokane, Laura Papetti, KREM 2 News.
Thank you for spending part of your weekend with us on the KREM 2 News Week in Review. Be sure to keep it here on KREM 2 for more news and weather updates. I'm Cody Proctor. Thanks for watching.